Hi guys, it's KJM. Happy Sunday. Today is Sunday, June 9th. It's KJM and I know it's been a while. I had to take a bit of a mental health break at the end of April. I sometimes do this at least like twice a year so I can get ready for like my birthday or so that I could take some time to myself because I'm just feeling like super duper overwhelmed. Today I'm in a lot of pink. And if you're over on TikTok, you'll know exactly why Sunday, June 9th, I am wearing pink and what's happening over there. It's the Pink Hair Takeover, and I am part of that community. I did it last year. This is the second year we're doing it. And so, yeah, last minute, I had to just make sure I got that pink and going on like in different shades. All right, so a lot's been going on Hallmark this year. I have been very underwhelmed by Hallmark this year. I understand that the writer's strike last year affected a lot of things, but in my mind, I always thought like Hallmark's got some movies in their vault that they can release in times like this. Instead, they have underwhelmed Megan and I. They have released very few movies, new movies. Now they're announcing that it's going to be new movie Saturdays because we're in the summertime. We're about to enter the real summertime. And I'm not that pleased with Hallmark. So in order to catch up, I think the last reviews I dropped was like around April 20th. In order to catch up on all the reviews, the really important ones, I'm going to give them their own review, like this movie in the back. Okay? I'm going to give them Branching Out. By the way, I'm giving this movie a 10. I think it's the first 10 I am giving this year for Hallmark's new movies. You guys remind me, but I feel like I've given out some 9s. I've given out tons of 7s. But I don't feel like I've given out a lot of 10s. So I think Branching Out is the first 10 that I'm giving this season. If it's not the first 10, I'm going to tell you this. It's the best movie Hallmark has released in 2024 thus far. And given that Hallmark didn't have movies in their vault, like I always thought they did, so I figured writer's strike, no problem. They will have movies that they hadn't released that are super good, and they're going to give us new movies. Instead, like every other Saturday in the winter and springtime, we were getting reruns from movies that were on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. Movies I watched in summer 2023 or fall 2023. And if it was a movie that I already watched, it's very rare that I'm going to review it if I watched it over on what's now Hallmark Mysteries. Anyway, make a long story short, this movie deserves all of its praises. I enjoyed the acting, the writing, the music, the supporting actors, the music. Did I mention the music? I just think Branching Out was this wonderful, what starts off like an IVF story that turns into a heritage story that turns into families, not all families, earring just fell, so now you know we're in real time, that not all families have to look the same. There's a lot of different families, and I absolutely love this movie. Okay, Sarah Drew, who you're used to, you have seen her on Grey's Anatomy, okay, and then she played April on Grey's Anatomy. Then she did a couple movies on Hallmark. Her first Christmas movie, which I think was called Christmas in Vienna, and I hated it. So I was like, maybe she's not meant for Hallmark. Then we saw her in, I think it was called Guiding Emily. She was in Guiding Emily, and I loved that movie. It was with Antonia Coupa, I think it was, right? And I was like, okay, maybe it just depends on the type of script that they give her. All right, Branching Out is the best movie that Sarah Drew has done on Hallmark thus far, and I can't wait to see what else there is in store for this actress. Now, before I forget, her co-star Juan Pablo plays TJ, basically Little Ruby's, there you go, Little Ruby's sperm donor, basically. I don't even know if you can say that on TikTok, but donor, right? And so it starts off with Ruby, going to school, and she gets this heritage project, And that project, she has to do like a family tree, and she has to talk about where she comes from. Well, she only knows her mom, Amelia, played by Sarah. She only knows her mom, Amelia, and then she had a grandma, and then she has an auntie, Mira, but Mira is not even her biological aunt. She's really her mom's best friend. So Ruby immediately panics and is saying, I don't have a normal family. I don't even know if I have enough to make a tree. This beautiful little girl said she's got enough to make a branch. And I just thought, there's a lot of children in this world that have similar stories where their family tree may not look like the atypical mom, dad, children, dog, family tree. And so, she starts to panic, and then she goes and talks to her mom, Amelia, and she says, she's 9 years old. She wants to know about her donor. And her mom doesn't think that it's time. She says, Ruby should really wait until she's 18, which I thoroughly disagree with, because you can tell that this child is super intelligent. She understands IVF. She understands that her donor may not want to meet her in real life, but she's willing to take a risk and to find him and to learn more about her heritage. Well, through the family DNA that a lot of people are doing, like online now, uploading their DNA to find relatives or to help relatives find them, they find what ends up being Ruby's grandmother. And from there, they find TJ. So this is a wonderful story where Amelia is tiptoeing. She doesn't want to have to share her daughter with a man she really doesn't know. But then Auntie Mira reminds Amelia that this is actually her chance to figure out why she picked TJ, why she picked him. And it turns out she really loved his laugh from an interview that he did when he was donating. So she didn't know what he looked like, but she really loved his laugh. This story goes into how DNA passes down things like music. We find out that TJ is a famous guitarist, even though he doesn't feel that way. His family's got a ranch, so he works on the ranch. We find out that Ruby is also a guitarist, and that they already have the shared love of music, even though they don't really know each other. Immediately when Amelia shows up at TJ's family's ranch, he wants to meet Ruby, and then it's up to Amelia to decide if she's going to open up the door. What ultimately happens is, not only does TJ fall in love with Ruby, he also falls in love with Amelia. And this unusual blended family now become a real family. There is love. And I know that this is very far-fetched when it comes to donors and IVF stories, when you have a random donor that you didn't know. But I thought it was a wonderful way to show friendship. Auntie Mira was supporting Amelia every step of the way, both with family stuff and in business. We see that romance can bloom in the most unorthodox settings. We see that the love of a child, TJ meeting his biological child for the first time, did not stop him from falling in love with her instantly. And I know that's not going to be everybody's story and why a lot of donors do not want to be contacted, but I thought it was beautiful that Hallmark featured this wonderfully acted, beautiful. I mean, it was crazy. Even Trey Stasio's, I hope I'm saying his name right, his music was just amazing. Like, did I tell y'all this movie's amazing and I'm giving it a 10 out of 10? If you have not seen Branching Out, you need to see it. It's literally the best movie Hallmark has released thus far. I thought I was going to have to wait to count down to Christmas for some good movies to come my way, but baby, Branching Out showed me that there is more to Hallmark that meets the eye this year. So we have a couple hits, we've had more misses, but the hits, baby, like this movie, it's worth it. Shout out to Sarah Drew and Juan Pablo, and to the little girl that played Ruby. Just spectacular. I've watched this movie a million times since it premiered, and I love the music, especially Better. I mean, I get emotional. I want this family to come together. And when I see them come together in this big, beautiful, messy, interconnected ball of love for this child, I'm like, yes, Hallmark, this is where you take risks and you're getting it oh so right. Shout out to the writers, directors, producers, the singers, the band, every single person that took part in this movie. It was pure magic. 10 out of 10.